Do you remember much about what the town was like when you first got here?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We talk about that quite frequently
Yeah.
when we all get together, yes. Lawyers Road was not paved, it was gravel at a certain point past here. And I remember when they finished it, because it was dusty, you know, the gravel made it really dusty. And there really wasn't much development beyond the town limits, really. Not many houses out that direction. Yeah, and then just the whole atmosphere of the town was different, you know.
We've heard it called a country resort. Do you agree with that?
Well, sort of. I mean, you know, I could let the kids, the boys, get on their bikes in the morning of the summer and come home, you know, for lunch if you're hungry. I mean, that was it. They could ride all over, and I can remember even my one son. He couldn't have been much more than first or second grade, and I walked him across Lawyers Road and watched, and he'd walk down and get a haircut and then come back, and I'd watch for him. I mean, you know, you can't do that now.
Can't do that.
But that was the way it was, yeah.
So, can you describe what Maple Avenue looked like when you first moved here?
Well, certainly not as much traffic.
Right.
That was, but there were, the maple trees were gone, so we never saw that. I think we missed that by maybe, I don't know how many years. That was just kind of an ordinary town, I guess. We had a couple of 5 and dime stores that you don't have, you know, we don't have now, and it was just there was only one restaurant in town, one drive-in and one restaurant, because Virginia did not have liquor. You couldn't buy a drink in a restaurant or something. So nobody wanted to open a restaurant. You had to go to Maryland, which, you know, we were like, really? This is really strange.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was kind of a culture shock in reverse, I guess, because in Kansas City we had a much more, well, we liked Mexican food. We moved here and we're like, nobody heard of a taco? I mean, it was just like, really, so it was like, but it's certainly changed by now. But, you know, but it was just kind of funny because it was very, very staid, and everything was so much slower here because, and you know, you always had that, hear about Southern people being slower and they talk slower. Well, when we moved here, that humidity, I said, I know now why, because we didn't have air conditioning when we first moved here.
Oh, wow.
It was, I mean, we spent a lot of time in our air-conditioned car just driving around. But I understood then why things moved a little slower in the South.
Did you call the name of that restaurant, the one restaurant?
Rolling Road was the only restaurant here, and the drive-in, I can't remember what it was called, Sonic, or I can't remember what the name of the drive-in was.
So did Vienna feel pretty Southern?
Well, it did, and that appealed to me, actually. You know, growing up in the Midwest where everything's kind of just, you know, something was really different. I thought, well, this is cool. We're going to live in Virginia. That sounded so like Scarlett O'Hara type thing, you know. So I was really looking forward to it, yes, yeah. And I think the humidity was, and another thing that really surprised me was the greenery. Because, you know, if you've grown up in Kansas, if there's a tree, there's a creek.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they let trees grow right up next to the road, and we're like, wow, did you look at this? This is amazing. And our backyard was just a jungle. You had to use a machete to practically get through it, because things, well, you know, we had how much rain we've had now.
Yeah.
It just grew, and that was really a bonus, I think, because we were just so excited to be able to grow things we'd never been able to grow before.
Yeah.